For me, days do not get much better than this. Huge thanks to Too Many Cars. This is just, I mean, I'm pinching myself. I'm holding the camera so I can't pinch myself. There you go, I'll pinch myself. The pain is worth it. The 430 16M Scuderia and the 458 Speciale Aperta. Now, I've actually driven a 16M before many, many years ago. It was one of the sort of first proper Ferrari road car driving experiences that I had on this channel, and I've never forgotten it. Actually, the picture of me driving a 16M has been my WhatsApp profile picture ever since. I've never driven a Speciale Aperta. I have driven the Speciale Coupe a number of times, but not the Aperta. And in my head, this could be one of the ultimate Ferraris, because the Speciale was so important, so era-defining as a supercar. Taking the roof off surely just only adds a huge amount of character, emotion, excitement. I mean, my mind is full of ideas. Okay, there is so much carbon fibre in here, it's outrageous. Oh, it's noisy, which is good. So let's take things easy to begin with. We're in sport mode. This car has a Manettino, which obviously my 360 doesn't, but the Speciale Aperta will. Into first, give a thumbs up to the lads. So obviously 2009 this car was made. We still have the F1 gearbox technology, the flappy paddle semi-automated gearbox. It's a bit slow in comparison to some modern gearboxes, and definitely will be a lot slower than we're going to find in the 458. But you just have to think about that, consider it in your driving. Right now in auto, and it's really not that bad. You can just sometimes get a little bit lurchy. So I'm trying to pay attention to Sally Sat Nav whilst also driving, which is interesting. Let's come out of auto. Oh, road ahead closed. So let's go straight on down here. Now, the interesting thing was, this was the kind of first time that Ferrari did a convertible version of one of their special mid-engined V8s. Of course, the 360 Challenge Stradale preceded the Scuderia as kind of like the first proper limited run, lightweight, track-focused V8 supercar from Ferrari, but they never did a Spider Stradale, if that makes any sense. So when the 16M Scuderia came around, it was a big deal. It was celebrating 16 Formula One Constructors Championships for the Scuderia, the Ferrari Scuderia, the Formula One team, hence the name. And you've got to kind of look at it and go, well, why would you have a convertible track-focused supercar? Because surely it kind of takes away from its stiffness, its rigidity, its ability to drive very fast on track. So it kind of makes it a bit more lifestyle. But that's really its kind of selling point, because you're getting all of the emotion, character, specialness of the lightweight special, the Scud, with no roof. So you're getting all that tantalizing emotion. Oh, I've forgotten how much I really like these things. As I said, I drove one so many years ago down at Furlonger in Kent, and it was such an amazing experience that over the years I've kind of forgotten exactly what it was like. I just remember it being brilliant, and now I'm here, I'm starting to remember again. Anyway, let's crack on to this supposedly half-decent road, and I'll join you there.
This is lit.
Oh my god! Okay, sorry, that's just sinking in for a second, because that soundtrack. It's a particularly bumpy road, so I'm trying to be quite careful. But wow! Having all of that noise coming from just over your shoulder, it's incredible. It's so emotive. Now, interestingly, as I hit the brakes coming to that corner, nowhere near as sharp as I remember or as I thought they were going to be. My 360, obviously just a Modena, not a Challenge Stradale, but it has the upgraded pads that we put on down at AV Engineering. That means they've got so much bite. They are Stradale-esque or even carbon ceramic-esque. So this felt weirdly a bit squidgy. And I know when we get into the Aperta how sharp those brakes are going to feel. Right, here we go again, a bit of noise. And you know what, that gearbox, it adds so much to the experience. It takes you back to 2009 where things were just a bit rawer, a bit rougher, a bit meaner. And I need that from a supercar, especially a roofless Ferrari. I spoke about it when I drove the 550 Barchetta. You need that edge, just to kind of, you know, get your blood going. I just moved into race, so we're going to get even more noise and much sharper, crisper and punchier gear changes. Not sure I'm kind of ready for it, if I'm honest. Now, I don't know if the camera will pick it up because these GoPros are amazing at flattening out shakes, but there's a lot of flex in here. That I'm definitely feeling. The windscreen itself, you can, well, I can tell by looking at the camera, it's wobbling around a lot. I can kind of feel the car itself moving a bit. And it's a car that was celebrating Ferrari Formula One success. I'm thinking Ferrari Formula One car, that soundtrack, that V8. Yes, it's similar to my own car, but it's somehow different. And it's got its own tone, its own raspiness. And then because you have the F1 box, the shifts, they have their own personality too. It's that little tiny fart on the upshifts. This is not the greatest road ever. There's a bit of traffic, but I don't really care. It's giving me a sense as to what it would be like to own this car, just live with it, just drive it. It's because you're getting all of this. Doesn't matter the moments you're stuck behind traffic because you're still enjoying your life. What a great life it is when you're driving a car like this, honestly. Well, there I was, minding my own business, when the guys behind flashed me and said, let's swap. Apparently that 16M sounded so good from behind. They were like, we want to drive it, which is totally fair enough. I'm not going to complain about switching to the Aperta. So, engine on. Immediately feels more modern, more kind of put together, more thought through. That 430 does feel a tiny bit dated now, but not necessarily that bad a thing. And the soundtrack immediately, and the gearbox, oh my god, the gearbox is like butter. I hardly noticed that I'm changing gear. What is that about? Straight into race, please. Let's get that wing mirror sorted as well. I cannot get over this gearbox. You got to remember now that this is a relatively dated gearbox from Ferrari. We're not quite 10 years old, but we're getting there. But it feels, in comparison to that 16M, just like clean, smooth, double clean. But that's potentially not the greatest thing ever, because I've lost a little bit of the sort of connection with the car. It's feeling a tiny bit more electronic, a little bit more roboticized, robotic, electronic robotic. Now we're looking for somewhere to turn around, because we want to head back to that half decent road that we were on a moment ago. I have to say, visibility is great out of a convertible V8 special. Okay, I'll wait for the cars. It's quite nice, isn't it? It's not mine. No, I wish it was.
And there's another one.
Yeah, there is. I have to say, I love Yorkshire, because in London, someone would have spat on me and called me a rude word. But no, there she was, loving the cars, loving a day out. Love that. So yes, soundtrack is still there, but nowhere near as raucous and as raw as the car that preceded this one. Now, of course, I'm going to say it when we get onto the slightly better road, but this car is better, like the Pista Spider is over the Speciale Aperta. Every generation Ferrari improves their cars, but driving them back to back like this, you start to analyse where maybe some elements have been lost in the name of improvement. You do have to concede in some areas. And yes, this gearbox is miles better to live with, better to use, probably in terms of longevity as well. I'm sure it wins out, but it's just not giving me much feeling. Anyway, here we go. Okay, that's giving me feeling. The speed is another level. Also, I've got bumpy road mode in here, so the ride is so much smoother. It's ironing out all the bumps. That is lovely, because I was being shaken around all over the place in the 16M and it was a little unnerving, but this is just making me feel like I'm on a sort of magic carpet ride, meaning I can focus on the drive. Okay, the 16M's a sports car, this is a supercar. And this is it's still today, this is a supercar. I said it earlier on, era defining in my mind, the Speciale. And this car, give me anything else, give me a rival. 720S Spider, F8 Spider, Pista Spider, anything, this still competes with it. But, are you picking up on the change in sound? The fact that all of these elements, these benefits of smoothness, actually don't make me laugh, smile, feel as much of an adrenaline rush as the 16M does, because you feel like you're in a more raw, brutal machine. Maybe we'll go down here. It looks good. If we can overtake this van, why not? This is a different experience. It's a whole nother, the generational leap from 430 to 458, Scuderia to Speciale, it's night and day. As you can see, I'm back in the 360 now. What I love about this car is it doesn't matter what other special Ferraris or other special cars I go and drive, whenever I get back into this, I'm like, oh yes, hello. Anyway, amazing experience. Huge thanks to Too Many Cars for letting me have a go in those two cars so unexpectedly. I couldn't believe how different they were. One generation apart, 430 to 458, and only a few years of development, but I mean, the 458 was just such a huge step forward for Ferrari. It's mad. But the car that I kind of wanted to spend the most time in, the car that I was choosing to get behind the wheel of the most during our little drive there, the 16M. That's just my Ferrari era, isn't it? So cool. Slightly frustrating that they're so expensive. I did actually get a quote from Magnitude Finance way back in the day after I drove a 16M for the first time. I remember calling them up and being like, right, talk me through the numbers, Magnitude. And yeah, they were quite horrendous. So I don't imagine they were going to be any much better now. Horrendous in the sense that I couldn't afford them. Probably very good, like all Magnitude's deals, but anyway, moving on. I need to head to a shop because I've been running low on food, and the guys at Holiday at Homes have recommended a really nice farm shop not far from Brompton Lake, so that's why I'm going to head right now to stock up, and then yes, head back and enjoy my villa by the lake.